Alrighty then, we're moving into the 2000s, and we were on 96 from Dusk Till Dawn, so it would be foolish and remiss of me to not mention that from 1997 to 2003, a show ran which really changed the way that you could use vampires, not only in television but just in general. And that was the 90s version of the hip vampire shtick that the Lost Boys was to the 80s, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can't deny, the film came out in 92, the series started in 97. I can't deny the fact that I like this series. I'm sorry. I apologize to anybody that's too tough to to watch this or to accept the fact that I watch it. I can't help it. It's a good fucking show. The X-Files and Buffy came on around the same time, and I grew up watching both the shows, so whatever. It's an outstanding fucking cast of people. Sarah Michelle Gellar's probably the least talented person in the cast, and she's the most notable one, but I mean, you got Anthony Stewart Head and Allison Hannigan and Michelle Trachtenberg. Just as the show goes on, it gets better, and the final season was great, and just really redefined what you could do with that type of show. And it opened up like it was like fucking Star Trek or something with the amount of creatures that they introduced into it. So there's that one. So you up to 2003, you go into 2003, and then a really funny thing happened. Basically, the studio shit out CG. Like, CG just flooded out of their ass like fucking demon shit. And you get Underworld, which was 2003. I don't have Underworld. I don't ever want to have Underworld. That movie's fucking awful. Kate Beckinsale with her little CG, fucking sword and sword. It's like, it's basically like a CG version of Blade. As if the later Blade films didn't get enough CG. But I mean, this one was like really just a horrible film. The writing and the plots, and oh fuck, it's just I mean, I saw it one time when it first came out, and then I never saw any of the sequels, and I'll never again watch the film. So I don't even really remember what it was about. I just remember that, along with Van Helsing, just hated those movies. So, and that's basically how it went in the 2000s with vampire films, was CG crapfest, big budget films, until recently, when we still got CG and it's even more horrible looking, but now we have the added benefit of them not even really being fighting vampires. They're just kind of melancholy, emo vampires. Great. But in 2008, a little film came along. I've got it, but I don't have it on me right now. But a little film came along that was an excellent child vampire film, and that was Let the Right One In. And it's Swedish or Finnish, or I don't know, it's in another country, but it had some great character play in it, and it also had some really good cinematography. And there's one scene that I always remember from that film, because I've never seen it in any other film, you don't really understand, and it was what happens to a vampire if they cross the threshold into somebody's house when they're not invited. I mean, you've always heard that in other films. I mean, it was in Fright Night and just countless other vampire films. You can't enter a vampire can't enter a person's house unless they're invited. So in this film, they show what happens to them if they do enter a house and they're not invited. And there's a lot of things in the movie that are done really well, and really like, I don't want to say like it was directed by an auteur or anything like that, but it was like a buddy coming of age film mixed with a vampire film that's not cheesy, it's not overly dramatic, it's a very balanced film. But before that, actually, a film came along directed by a friend of our show and a friend of the board that I think is one of the most underrated vampire films ever made, and one of the best that doesn't get any recognition, and that's J-Reel's Dawn, which is it's a a father-daughter cross-country trek film where the daughter just happens to be a vampire, and the best part of the film by far is the interaction between the stars. I think it's Casey Young plays Dawn in the film, and Ray Boucher, who is a really super talented guy at writing and producing and acting. And it's weird to me that, I mean, he really doesn't, I mean, he does some stuff for our show, but it's like, I mean, he's just amazingly talented at all those things. Puts together Christmas specials for the show and does, a lot of stuff with Chester Grimm's Mausoleum and stuff like that. But I really, I guess what I'm saying is it's really odd to me that he's never gone on to do the big, kind of production stuff, because I mean, he really is talented in that way. So if you haven't checked out Dawn, I know a lot of people haven't, then you can pick it up from Tempe Entertainment. And so I guess the big thing, Let the Right One In and Dawn are kind of oddly similar films. But anyway, check out J-Reel's film, Dawn. I think it's a really good addition to the vampire genre. So now, 2010, we've got Twilight and Twilight New Moon. That's really what we moved into. And like I said before, I'll never watch those films. I just don't have any desire to. It's not aimed at me, and there's nothing in the script nor in the the books or the trailers that I would really want to see, that I've seen, that has made me want to go watch the film. But because of Twilight, we'll get things from now until heyday, like Daybreakers, which just came out, and I mean, I'm sure they'll be making 1,000 more films with werewolves and vampires where they're really teenage boys with hearts of gold that have to fight for love, and that's going to be the trend for a while. So it's my little series of videos about the vampire through the ages. So I hope you've enjoyed. Check us out over at deadpit.com. We've always got interviews up. We've always reviewing films, and I'm snowed in like a son of a bitch, and I'm not enjoying it. So take care.